Well, in today's live lesson, we're going to talk about 3 goals for your ukulele journey in 2024. Can you believe it's already 2024? Now, last year I did one of these for 2023, which you can check out, link below if you're watching this as a recording. And so there's some things that are the same and other things that are different. And that's because, well, when you're setting goals, you want to reflect at what you did in the previous year and what you can do moving forward to, again, help your ukulele journey continue to grow in the way that is best for you. So the first thing we're going to talk about, the first goal, is more of an intention of consistency is key. And now this is a big one to unpack because there's multiple layers to what I mean by consistency is key. The first thing is just the frequency that you practice and play with. We want to try to be as consistent as we can be with our relationship to playing these things. The more frequently you're able to do it, the more progress you're going to make on your journey. And it doesn't necessarily mean the more you play it, it means more you get a chance to play it. So what do I mean there? Well, if let's say that you only practice an hour a week, it's not very much, right? It's not very much at all. I would rather that you practice 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week, than I would for you to practice 1 day a week for an hour. It's just so difficult to make really good progress at skill building, like learning an ukulele, for instance, when you don't have the frequency for your brain to continue to kind of marinate on these things. Creating those neural pathways and encouraging neuroplasticity is going to be rewarded by the frequency in which you're able to practice. So the first layer of that consistency that I want you to work on is just how often you're practicing. Now, not everyone can play every day or several times a day. So what you need to do is find what works for you and create that consistent pattern and try to create it as a habit. Sort of like brushing your teeth, right? If you keep doing it every day, eventually you don't think about it, you just go do it. Try to make your ukulele playing consistent like that. Another layer, though, with this consistency is how you actually spend your time playing when you are practicing. So we want consistent practice, but we also want consistency within our practice. And what that means is we don't want to be just waffling about looking at a bunch of different things and spending the time basically not playing. We want to find things that we want to work on and we want to stick to them and consistently work on them. The consistent repetition is what's going to build up your skill. And to go with that is a saying that I've said many, many times before. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I didn't make it up, but it stuck with me ever since I heard it. I don't even remember where, but it's such a true concept of, if you are able to practice something methodically and slowly, you're going to be able to play that thing with high proficiency at high speeds. It's not practice makes perfect. It's perfect practice makes perfect. So the consistency that you practice with is very, very critical for your development. I actually, I mentioned before I started going live here that I just got home from a trip to Europe, which was super fun. I've never been before. It was awesome. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because in Paris, the metro system has this little jingle that goes to it. Right? It kind of sounds like this. And I had it stuck in my head as we were walking around and everything. And I came home, grabbed my ukulele, and I started messing with it, right? Trying to make up like an original song with it. I promise this is a point for consistency. And I got so excited about what I was playing that I just kind of went off the deep end trying to do really intricate, really difficult things. And I spent like a good 45 minutes to an hour one of the first days I got back just playing this thing. And I was really excited about it, but it didn't feel very good. And the reason is because I was trying to like go at the absolute top level right away. And that's not how you write a song or learn a song. What I needed to do was take a step back and create a consistency with how I'm approaching it. Because every time it was different because I was just going for it. So what I did is after that 45 minutes or so, I was like, okay, we need to take a step back. And I think it was maybe 10 or 15 minutes of just really methodically and consistently working out what it is I wanted to do for this little thing that I was making up based on the Paris Metro. And that 15-minute session was so much more fruitful than the 45 minutes before because what I did is I created consistency within what I was practicing. Instead of just trying all this crazy strum stuff, I was sitting there and working on just playing it consistently of getting... It's a little something, right? It's kind of neat. But I couldn't play it with any sort of proficiency at first because I was just trying to do too much right away. And that consistency of that little session of practice made a huge difference. And now when I'm playing it, I'm having a lot more fun because I broke it down that way. And to go with that, stick with the things that you work on. I alluded that a little bit before, right? To create a consistent routine, you want to make sure you're consistently playing the same things. Now, I'm not saying play something to death when you're not enjoying it. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I'll come back in the third goal a little bit there. But it's a good idea to stick with something and consistently work on it until you feel like you've gotten what you should get out of it. And that's a little bit subjective, obviously, but you usually know when you haven't worked on something quite enough. And so that's the first goal that I have for this, is consistency is key. So be consistent with your practice in terms of when you practice. Try to consistently touch the ukulele every day. And when you are playing the ukulele, try to find consistency in what it is you're working on. Perfect practice makes perfect. Be more methodical with your time, and then work on the same things again and again to help encourage those neuron pathways and to make your learning a lot smoother, right? So that's our first one. Well, let's talk about the second one. This one was suggested by Drew at rock class. I loved it, and I also hated it. Let me explain. What it is it's put yourself out there. And what Drew was mentioning in our chats, he's like, yeah, encourage people to do an open mic or join a group or play with other people, make a video, record, put yourself out there. And I think it's a fantastic goal. And it's also a goal that stresses me out, which is ironic, right? Because I'm sitting here talking to you on YouTube, or, whether this is live or recording for you, I'm putting myself out there, right? But I'm very uncomfortable with playing for other people, which is kind of an awkward thing to be at when you're a professional ukulele player. But I don't like playing for other people. It makes me uncomfortable. That's why I don't enjoy performing. I do perform, and there are times where, it's more enjoyable than others, but for the most part, those butterfly feelings never really go away. It's something that I struggle with within my own ukulele journey. And most of my students, especially private students, express that they also have that same type of performance anxiety and other things like that. So why are we making the second goal something that would make us uncomfortable? Well, because when you make yourself uncomfortable like this, you broaden your abilities. And there's a great quote. It's an Eric Whitacre quote, who's a famous composer, modern day composer. He was interviewed and asked about performance anxiety because he mentioned that he had performance anxiety in other interviews. And somebody asked him, how did you get over your performance anxiety? Right? To which he responded, and I may be paraphrasing a little bit here, but get over it? I didn't get over it. I just got very, very comfortable being in a state of utter terror. And I love this quote because when you have performance anxiety, it never goes away. At least in my experience and the experience of other people I've talked to with it, it never goes away. But you get more comfortable in that state, in that discomfort. And that comfort in being uncomfortable leads to opportunities and chances that you might never have otherwise. And so for you on your ukulele journey, try to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable by putting yourself out there. And if it doesn't make you uncomfortable, if you don't have stage fright, that's awesome. You already have a little bit of a leg up. Put yourself out there. Different ways that you can put yourself out there could be, go do an open mic, a local restaurant or theater or something like that. Start working on a song, use the consistency of practice to get really comfortable, right? And then go play that song out somewhere that you might not normally do. If that's just too much to imagine, maybe make a video, record yourself playing the song and send it to some friends. It can be a great little holiday card, is to send a friend a video of you playing. Or maybe it's play with other people. Go join a ukulele club. If that's always been something that's like, oh, I'm not good enough for it. Yes, you are. You absolutely are. I guarantee it, because you don't need to be a certain level to enjoy yourself with other people in that way. So go play with others, whether it's a club or a jam or whatever it might be. But try to put yourself out there in different situations and just allow it to show you how you might be able to grow as a musician and a player. I'll tell you right now that the biggest strides I ever made in my ukulele journey were always when I had an element of accountability to somebody else. And that is coming from playing out to something. So for me, when I first agreed to do my first performances, that was a stressor of putting myself out that really helped me grow a lot as a player. It helped me develop my skills much more. Another thing that I'm thinking about right now is when I went out to Australia all the way back in 2010, which now we're going into 2024. Time is a fickle beast, isn't it? But I was gigging out there. It was my first ever tour and stuff, and I was not a good enough player to be touring, but that's neither here nor there. But there were these two guitarists I got to play with, and there's some YouTube videos of me playing with them on my YouTube channel, and they're younger than I was, and they were just beyond incredible. Their band name was called the Derringers, and they were just phenoms. And by playing with them, it created this sense of accountability for myself to improve in different ways. Putting myself out there, playing with them, performing with them, really expedited my growth in things that I didn't think I could grow very well with. Namely, for this, it was a lot of rhythm stuff, of being able to play faster in time with other people. I would never have learned that by playing on my own. And so it was so important for me on my journey to have these elements. I still remember one of the things that I played with them that I couldn't do and then learned how to do was a part of one of Jake Shimabukuro's songs where I'd splice it into another thing. It's called Let's Dance. It's got this amazing double time section. And the double time section, I used to play something like this. So this is wrong, right? This isn't good. But I used to play it like this. Now, that's just going faster, but I didn't realize that because I was playing by myself. There's no sense of accountability. I started playing with these two guitarists and doing this part, and everything fell apart. And they're like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, why are you speeding up? Go get the timing right." And by playing with them, then I developed it to be more like this. It's so much more natural when I do it that way because I'm playing at twice the speed. I'm not just going for it. I'm playing it at a certain way to fit a mold with other people. And without putting myself out there to play with them, that would have never happened for me. So the second goal that I have for you in 2024 is put yourself out there. And whatever that is for you, it's okay. If that's just putting on a camera and recording yourself and never sharing that video with anyone else, well, maybe share it with someone, right? But it's okay. Just something that's different than what you normally do, putting yourself out into a more social environment with your music. Now, the third one we're going to talk about here is my favorite. And that is, I want you to enjoy what you enjoy unapologetically on your ukulele journey. So the number one thing I get asked as a teacher is, where should I be when I've been playing for X amount of time? I just got a message recently from Rudy, if you're watching this, saying, I've been playing for a certain amount of time. Where should I be on my journey after these few years, right? And there's no one size fits all answer to that type of question, because there's no one size fits all with this thing called learning a musical instrument. Each and every one of us has a different ukulele journey that we're on. And that journey can be similar to other people's, and it can have overlap. It can also be completely different, but at the end of the day, it's a one-of-one experience. And nobody else is going to have your journey, and nobody else is going to ever have your journey, right? It's yours. And so where I'm going with this is, sometimes when we're setting goals for ourselves, we're making the goals based on what we think we should be doing. And that's kind of what I've been doing with the beginning here, right? By me telling you, like, oh, be more consistent with your practice and try to put yourself out there, right? Those concepts are broad, but different people are going to get different things from them. Maybe you're a more consistent player already and you don't need as much of that first one. Maybe you're already putting yourself out there, you don't need more of the second. And maybe this third step is really the one that's going to be most important in your journey, is just to realize that you don't have to listen to other people to know what you should be doing on your journey. It's important for you to find what you enjoy and what you are looking out of your own journey to find what you should be working on. So let me break this down a little bit more. I have a lot of private students who feel like, hey, I want to become a great ukulele player. And that's a great goal. And they start in the private lessons and they start to realize, hey, I really, really love fingerstyle and I love playing solo instrumentals and I don't really like strumming and singing. That's fine. Does everybody have to be able to strum and sing? Absolutely not. Is it a good idea to be able to do these things and broaden and, yeah, sure, absolutely. But everybody's different. You don't have to do all of the different things other people say should be done. You need to do the things that you enjoy and you find fulfillment for. For some individuals, that's being well-rounded, working on a bunch of different things and always kind of opening up their minds to different styles and techniques, and that's great. For other people, it's, man, I really just want to play Celtic fingerstyle ukulele, and that's fine too. I think there's a lot of value in trying to do different things and trying things to see if you like it. For me, for instance, I'm not a big fan of listening to jazz for the most part. It's not for me, but I love playing it. And I never would have learned I loved playing jazz if I didn't try playing jazz when I thought I would hate it, right? I thought I wouldn't enjoy it, and I loved playing it. So it's a good idea to try things you don't know if you'll like to see if you like it. But once you know you don't like something and you have that preference, unapologetically enjoy what you're enjoying on your journey, because it's your journey and no one else's. So I can't stress enough that this third one is find what you like and pursue that, and pursue it unapologetically. That you don't have to worry about what somebody's learning on Instagram or what, somebody else, a friend maybe is learning on the ukulele. It's like, oh man, should I be able to do that? I don't do that. I don't want to do that. Then don't. It's okay. So I think that in goal setting, it's important to put yourself at the forefront and make sure that you know that you're doing it for you and no one else. So play what you enjoy most to get the most fulfillment on your journey. So these are the three goals that I have for you. For me, with that third one, it's when I was learning and everything and in school and all that, there was a lot of push on like, oh, you need to learn to sing and you need to learn to strum and sing. That's something that you need to be able to do. And I don't enjoy it. I still don't enjoy it. I never really did enjoy it. And kind of early on, I spent quite a bit of time trying to develop that skill because I felt like I was supposed to and that I had to, and it was necessary for me to do this for a living or for me to enjoy this or because somebody else told me I needed to. But ultimately, I didn't pursue that part because it didn't give me the fulfillment that other areas do, like playing more solo instrumentals and just playing the ukulele on its own. For me, even it's like the low G versus high G thing. I have low G ukuleles. I do play them. I teach with them, but I'm a high G guy. I love the high G. I love being able to play that more campanella style of putting the melody notes on multiple strings or using more the strumming style that the high G can give. And so for me as a musician on my own journey, if I'm going to go make a new album or if I'm going to be getting ready for a performance, I'm not going to be grabbing the low G because I feel like somebody else wants me to. I'm going to do the thing that I like to do and enjoy my journey in that way, if that makes sense. And you can do the same. If you like a certain tuning, you like a certain sound, play that sound. So I'm kind of rambling on it now, but that's the third goal here is enjoy what you enjoy unapologetically. And so just to recap, we got these three goals. The first one is consistency is key. I want you to consistently practice the ukulele, and when you are practicing it, I want you to practice consistently. And so what that means is we consistently practice, we consistently pick up the instrument, we try to play it every day as much as we can, right? And then when we are spending the time playing, we want to be consistent with our practice. Try to play the same things in the same ways, using the correct techniques. Make sure we're playing slowly to then speed up correctly so that we can maximize our opportunity while practicing. The second goal here was putting yourself out there a bit, whether that's making recordings of yourself and sending them to friends, going to an open mic, trying to perform a little bit, joining a ukulele club, or just jamming with some friends. Just try to do things that aren't just you within your ukulele journey, but have some element of accountability towards someone else. Sometimes this is very uncomfortable, especially if you're like myself and struggle with performance anxiety. And this is one of the reasons it can be really beneficial in your journey. It's not something you have to do exclusively by any means, but doing a little bit of that can help open the doors to other things and other opportunities. And the third thing there was enjoy what you enjoy unapologetically. Find what you like. Don't worry about doing everything. Don't worry about doing all the things that all the different people, say you should know they're out there on Instagram. Find what you enjoy and enjoy that, because at the end of the day, most of us here are adults doing this for a fun hobby and passion, and you want to just do it to do it. You just want to enjoy yourself and find the best fulfillment you can on your journey in the way that only you can, because it's no one else's journey but yours. So I'm going to go and look at questions now and see if there are any questions and comments that people have been leaving. If you're watching this live, feel free to leave your message in the chat. If you're watching this as a recording, we do these lessons every second Tuesday of the month at noon Pacific time. And you can leave your questions in the forums. I'll be sure to answer those. And so let's see in the chat here. Ron says, I hear you fine. David says, welcome back. Jaina says, hello. Andy says, season's greetings, everyone. Junie says, working on the monthly rock class challenge is a good example of help me grow. That's a fantastic way to put yourself out there when you're making videos here on Rock Class 101. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's great. Andy says, for consistency, I have a sheet listing of I have a sheet listing all the techniques, exercises, songs I'm working on, and how many minutes of practice each day. Keeps me honest. This might not be for everybody. I think that's fantastic. I'm a journaler as well. I even, for my journal, wrote down the stuff for today's lesson, right? So this isn't as much a practice journal for me, but I do use it routinely with practice. Creating that sense of accountability through writing what it is you're doing is great. And that also gives you this amazing reflective thing to look back on. If you keep a practice journal for a year, it looks real cool at the end of the year because you get to see all the different things you did. So I can't stress enough how great it is to keep a practice journal. But if it stresses you out, that's also no good. So we want to find what works for you and go from there. There's a few comments on the Rock Class forums. First one here is the Bumblebard. This topic is always fun. All 3 goals I set for this year did pretty much happen, plus so much more, which I never really expected. All with a little help from my uke friends. So I'd best choose these goals carefully. And then she lists her 3 favorite here. Number 1, learn to strum well enough to teach a capuchin. Is that how you pronounce that? Monkey how to strum. Learn 3 strumming techniques. Excellent. I think learning 3 strumming techniques is great. Love strumming on the ukulele. Number 2, try to create 1 ukulele recording, just one that doesn't sound like it was recorded underwater or like a synthesized play school uke being heard through a paper cup. Recording's hard, definitely a difficult thing, but I think you probably have already created some that don't sound as bad as you think. But recording is a great way to push outside that comfort zone. Then number 3, create 1 non-basement E ukulele tab that includes the chords are and the correct measures. Terrifying. And so I've seen some of the tab work before of like handwritten stuff. And so I imagine that this third thing is to actually, create something that's a little bit more regulated with the music, taking into consideration the time signature and rhythmic note values. And so I think that's a great goal. Bonus, a whole year later, finish that blog. Thank you, RC101, again for a beautiful year of ukulele fun, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. To you as well, the Bumblebard. There's another comment here that's, I'm interested to know the best way to learn to sight read. Do the teachers all have different approaches? Sheet music also, which looks particularly hard, have to learn to understand it first. But even then, how long does it take? It's a great question. Sight reading on an ukulele, so this is subjective, right? Everything's subjective, really. I've been teaching ukulele for a very, very long time now. I've been doing it full time since me and my wife got married almost 12 years ago, and I was teaching it a couple years before then. Sight reading is not a skill that's required to be a proficient ukulele player, and most ukulele players do not sight read music. I'm not saying sight reading is an invaluable skill, not at all, but I'm saying it's not like learning to play trumpet and playing in a jazz band. It's a different thing. And so I do think it's a very good thing to learn how to read music, but it doesn't matter that you can do it on the fly immediately, unless you need that skill for something. If you're playing in a band where you need to sight read music, then by all means, sight reading is important. So I think the importance there is just creating an expectation of yourself, not that you have to be able to sight read it, but just be able to read it. And being able to do that can take time, and that's okay. For me, the way I teach it is essentially learning how the notes on the musical staff relate to the notes on the ukulele. I actually did a course on creating chord melodies where I teach how to read sheet music. There's also some great courses here on Rock Class 101 on music theory. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the difficult thing about the ukulele is this instrument and sheet music were not made for each other. So you kind of have to adapt them to each other, and that creates a disconnect for people when they're first learning this. So if you're really serious about wanting to learn to sight read and learn to read music on the ukulele, one of the best things you can do, go learn how to read music on the piano. I know it sounds crazy, right? Why would I recommend piano as an ukulele teacher? Piano shows you what it is you're reading. And it's a lot easier to relate this to the piano, to the music, than it is to just relate this to the music, in my experience. So hope that helps a little bit. David says, on Put Yourself Out There, what are your thoughts on uke conferences for continuing education and performance? Any suggestions on which to attend? Yeah, so for putting yourself out there, yes, going to ukulele festivals, taking workshops, signing up for open mics, fantastic things to do. I'm actually playing at 2 festivals this year. The first one is in a month. Oh my God, it's in a month and a week. Oh, that's coming up quick. At the Brown County Ukulele Festival near Indianapolis. For me, this is me putting myself out there, right? This is me listing my own goal of 2024. I played 0 festivals in 2023, and now I'm playing at least 2 festivals in 2024. So I'm taking it to heart of the Put Yourself Out There. So you'll find me at that festival if you're in the area. Awesome. I think there might be still some tickets available. Check it out. I'm also playing in the UK at the Ukulele Festival of Great Britain in Cheltenham, I believe, in late July. And there are some incredible acts going there. A little bit something for everybody. And so yes, going to a festival like one of these 2 or many others that are out there are so many great ukulele festivals, can be a wonderful way to explore putting yourself into different situations and putting yourself out there, whether that's just attending a class. If you're somebody who's normally very socially shy and the thought of attending a class with other people is stressful, that can be putting yourself out there. Maybe it's playing at an open mic at this, signing up to play with other people, whatever it might be. Andy says, I also find it difficult to play and sing at the same time, although I keep trying, but strumming or picking to accompany someone else singing, my wife, is easier, and then we can perform together. Yeah, I love it. I love that. I find it difficult too to play and sing at the same time, and I don't really enjoy doing it. So I love playing while someone else is singing. Funnily enough, I'm doing more music myself with a good friend of mine named John Moe, and we've got some videos on my YouTube channel, and we're going to be performing together at the Brown County Ukulele Festival. So I am doing more with playing with other people in that way, which is very much putting myself out there in ways that I haven't before. So Andy says, hey, you should come to Vancouver. It's closer. Vancouver, BC or Washington. Either way, I'm kind of like right in between. So sounds good to me. Love it out there. So let me see if there are any other questions here in any of the comments. BC, excellent. Love Vancouver. We were at Whistler this summer. Beautiful. That whole drive up, it's just wonderful. I think probably the most beautiful place in the world is British Columbia and all up through there. But now I'm truly off topic. I don't see any other comments in the within the forums. Again, if you're watching this as a recording, we do these every second Tuesday of the month at noons. And if you can't make that time, you can always leave your question in the forum post. Let me go ahead and go through the chat again, make sure I didn't miss any messages. But as I'm doing this, just one more time to reiterate what our 3 goals are. The first one is consistency is key. Consistently practice. And when you practice, have consistency to what you're practicing. And what that means is try to touch your ukulele every day if you can. And when you're spending your time playing, do the same things in the same correct ways. Perfect practice makes perfect. And you'll find that your growth will be a lot more fruitful with your practice. The second one was put yourself out there. Whether that's record yourself, making videos to send to friends, playing at an open mic, playing with a uke club, going out and jamming with people, whatever it is. Just try to put yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone and try to do something, both to help broaden your musical ability, but also that accountability can really help create growth within your journey. And the third thing is enjoy what you enjoy unapologetically. If you're a finger picker, finger pick. don't stress about if you're not strumming as good as you feel like you should be. Do I think you should never strum? No, try it. But if you don't enjoy it, if it's not for you, you don't have to keep doing that thing over and over, right? Think about it like kids exploring with food, right? So my son is 7; he's very picky with food, but I force him to try everything once with food, right? It's like you don't know if you don't like Brussels sprouts until you try them. And there have been a lot of foods that my son was like, ugh, I don't like that. I don't want that. I'm like, just try it. Just eat 3 bites, right? And he tries it and he loves it. And then it's one of his favorite foods all of a sudden, right? And then other times he tries it and he does not like it. And that's it. We're done. You didn't like it. That's fine. Will I encourage him to try it again sometime later? Sure, absolutely. But I'm not going to give it to him with every meal. You shouldn't do that to yourself with your practice either. If you feel like you're playing this thing in your practice every day that just doesn't make you happy with your playing, then drop it from your practice. It doesn't need to be there. Enjoy what you enjoy unapologetically and surround your journey with things that you enjoy experiencing. So I can't stress that one enough because it's your journey. It's a one of one and nobody else can tell you what's right or wrong on it. So those are my 3 goals for you. I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. If you're watching this as a recording, feel free to leave your comments down below as well. It's been an amazing year. 2023 flew by, absolutely, but I'm really looking forward to 2024 and seeing what can happen. And hopefully, if I can be a part of your ukulele journey through these videos and everything else, then, well, thank you so much for having me along for the ride. It's truly awesome to see so many different people experience this amazing little instrument and experience it all in unique, different ways. So remember, your journey is your own, and it's important to enjoy it to the fullest. However it is you enjoy it to the fullest. So thank you so much. Happy Christmas, holidays, and New Year. And I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks so much.